Hello everyone, I am Ezekiel Bruni, the lord of all Canadian Mexican fusion tacos, and also a web designer. And today, I'm here with Website Planet to talk about BrandCrowd. BrandCrowd is a do-it-yourself sort of logo design service powered by an AI or algorithm, and it's brought to you by the same people that brought you DesignCrowd. DesignCrowd, not to be confused with BrandCrowd, is a separate service where you can run design contests and get a bunch of actual people to make your logo for you. BrandCrowd works a little differently. Let's have a look, shall we? Okie dokie, so here we are at BrandCrowd. Sorry, I may be doing that the rest of the video. Let's have a look now. We want to put in, let's see, Website Planet. And now it's generating a bunch of logos with possibly pre-designed icons. Well, definitely some pre-designed icons. Based on the keywords in that we have here in the business name. Unlike other logo design services, it's not going to ask you a bunch of questions. It's not going to ask you to pick styles. You can customize your search a little bit. Let's see, you can, let's grab purple, pink, and blue, for example. Font styles, let's go with bold, modern, and handwritten, what the hell. Let's see, icon and text, text only. Let's stick with all for now. And as you can see, we've got a more customized set of choices to, well, choose from. We've got some logos based on the letter W, which doesn't hurt. We've still got some planetary imagery, but because we've refined our search, there's a bit less of the planetary imagery and more going wild. I actually kind of like that. But we're not going to go with that one. And in fact, let's see. Let's add grayscale to the list. Let's add funky to the list, just for fun. And let's add a couple of keywords. And now we're back to having a lot of very specifically planet-based imagery. So this whole system works a bit, well, say more like Google than a questionnaire. I've reviewed another service not long ago that worked in a very similar way, mostly keyword-based. But it did not do it nearly as well, and you couldn't customize the logos. Like, at all. Not really. So far, I've got to say BrandCrowd is doing a lot better on that front. Now, we can choose favorites, so we can revisit our favorites later. Let's, oh. I thought I'd already signed in. Whatever. They seem to have two competing sign-in systems on the same website. I don't know what that's about. I like the rocket. Gotta love a good rocket. I am still 5 years old. We're down to our final 3. Let's line that up, and let's line that up. There's a grid in the background here, and I really wish the elements would snap to the grid to provide easier alignment. Well, you can't have everything, can you? Let's change up the colors. Oh, there's gradients. Interesting. We can play with that. Let's go with a blue one there. Let's go with... I'm not seeing the actual gradient. I don't know why. The colors should be shifting over here. Okay, so gradients may not necessarily work. It might be browser dependent. That's sad. Yeah, I'm just seeing solid colors. And let's play with that. Now, there's a thing about shapes. You can add shapes, apparently. Ooh, banners and backgrounds. Ah, I see what they're doing. So, for example, if you wanted a scientific flask logo, but on a shield, that is entirely possible. So you can add some well, not custom, but you can add from a fairly large variety of shapes. Even potentially design your own basic logo from this. Huh. I would not recommend using these as your logo. Although the registered and copyright trademarks could turn out to be useful. Let's see. What was the one? It was Reckoner. They don't let you type it in, huh? You've got to go scrolling. Not as easy to use as it could be, but what the heck? I know how to scroll. We all know how to scroll. Reckoner. Yeah, there we go. There's that hyper techie stuff. Line that up again. Oh, I haven't finished it changing up the colors. Let's see. No. Kind of works. What I do find somewhat interesting is that they do not have an option for, say... no. They don't have an option for picking specific colors, which is not great. Having the option to pick very specific colors would be nice. I'm seeing default colors. Oh, there we go. Sorry. I'm not a very bright person. They absolutely do. Let's see. Let's grab that. No. And then we darken it a bit. Okay, they absolutely do have an option for picking specific colors. I am very sorry for having said what I said just a second ago. Let's change this one to something a bit more... There we go. Let's base it on the purple. But let's lighten it a bit. Oh, that's looking better. I can actually be kind of proud of that. Alright, that was fun. I'm going to save the progress on this one. I'm going to make my final decision. And I'll show you all how that looks when I have. And I'm back again. And I've made my decisions. The house logo did not work at all. I ditched it. This logo, while nice, isn't quite what I want, I think. But I did want to mention that on this logo, the gradients do clearly work. I'm not sure why they don't seem to work on the planet logo, but they definitely work here. Now, I've been apprised of the fact that the actual color scheme for Website Planet was originally supposed to be blue. So, fun fact for you, I had no idea. So I've decided to go with blue, but something a little more vibrant than the original, you know? I wanted something that felt a little brighter, a little more whimsical. So that's what I'm going with. This is the logo I have chosen. I'm going to click download. And, well, now I've got to go pay for this, so I'll see you all in a bit. And once more I return. And well, we've bought the logo, and it's... honestly, it's pretty decent. Let me show you... oh, wow. There we go. The actual logo assets. Let's see. You get PDF, EPS, SVG. That's not something you get it with every service. But SVG format. In PNG and JPEG, you seem to get both... well, at least for PNG, you get both digital resolutions as well as print resolutions. The JPEG seems to be purely digital resolution with 72 dpi. If you're not into printing, don't worry about that. The ones that say 72 dpi are the ones you need. And interestingly enough, a grayscale version is provided, you know, in case you're doing anything where you can't work with color. And really, that's it. One thing I will note that is a little odd is these are draft logos, and oddly enough, you can't delete them. At least I haven't found a way to delete them. Anyway, on to my final notes. We'll go back to my lovely face for this. BrandCrowd is pretty good, all things considered. The standard package gives you everything you need to use your logo however you like, pretty much. It's a decent package for a decent price. I admit that it's not as advanced as it could be. I felt like it maybe misses a few features that some of its competitors have, but those competitors are generally more expensive. And for a logo generator that's based almost entirely on keywords, rather than, say, an AI process that asks you a bunch of questions and generates logos based on your responses, for this kind of logo generator, it works. It's functional. I might wish, you know, that the library of icons you could choose from was bigger, but I cannot fault their quality. And, yeah, those are my thoughts on BrandCrowd. The more complete review will be in the written review on Website Planet. I hope you all enjoyed and found this helpful. Peace out.